The Tenbai Academy was accepting students who possessed a power, called Maken. One of them was Takaru, who dreamed of studying in this co-ed school. He thought of enrolling in a new school because he was fed up with the same all-boys school where he attended his middle school. He chose Tenbai Academy, which had just become a co-ed school from being an all-girls school. His childhood friend, named Haruko, was also studying in this academy, and she was currently a second year and vice president of the Student Council Security Division. They had not seen each other for a long time, so Haruko decided to pick him up. When they arrived at the school, Haruko left because she needed to prepare for the entrance ceremony. While he was on his way to the gym where the entrance ceremony was to be held, he witnessed the fight of two second-year students, named Kinyua and Izuki. The fight was so intense that he thought that he was just dreaming. He also saw another girl, named Himegami, on a tree. She was with a shikigami, named Kagetsuchi, but he could not see him. Izuki kicked Kinyua's sword toward Himegami, causing her to fall on Takaru and accidentally kiss him. Himegami got angry at Takaru, but when she saw a mark on his chest, she let him go. Takaru took advantage of the opportunity to leave, and he did not know that he was considered a mortal enemy of Himegami because of the mark on his body. While they were at the entrance ceremony, the principal, named Minori, mentioned that if they were able to own one of the 8 Maken by controlling their element, they would definitely have a good future. Takaru did not quite understand what their principal was saying regarding the Maken and the element. In order for them to better understand what Minori meant, she assigned Kinyua and Izuki to show it. But since they had fought earlier, they just teased each other, so Minori decided to choose someone else. Because of this, Himegami volunteered to do it, but the one she chose to fight was Takaru. Takaru did not want to do it, but due to the insistence of other students, he could not do anything but accept the challenge. Before they start, Himegami told him that they were just going to pretend that they would fight. But he had no idea that she was planning to do something to him. She summoned another shikigami, named Ikazuchi, which she would use on Takaru. When they started, they both pretended to be doing the fight well. Until Himegami used Ikazuchi, when Haruko was about to try to stop her, a woman got ahead of her. They were surprised to see that this woman was using one of the 8 Maken. But she suddenly weakened and fell on Takaru. She immediately regained consciousness and hugged Takaru, so Haruko came closer to ask who she was. She introduced herself as Inaho, and said that from that day on, she would protect Takaru as her fiancé. After class, Haruko went to Takaru's room to ask him about what Inaho had said earlier. But she did not expect that Inaho was also in Takaru's room. He found out that they would share the room, and because of the size of the room, the principal approved it. He was also surprised that Himegami was also there, and she also decided to join Takaru in this room. Because of this, Haruko immediately took her things to move into this room as well. She argued that it was her responsibility as the dorm superintendent to guide them. The next day, the 4 of them hurried to school because they were going to be late. The 3 girls successfully reached the gate on time, but they saw that Takaru was not going to make it. Because of this, Himegami used Kagetsuchi to help him get on the gate. When Takaru and Inaho went to their room, their classmates were staring at them because of what happened during the entrance ceremony. As their class started, their homeroom teacher, named Tamika, informed them that they would have a physical checkup, and the girls would have it first. Takaru and one of their classmates, named Kengo, immediately thought what this meant. For this reason, they both asked permission to go to the bathroom and lied that their stomachs hurt. They quickly went to the back of the infirmary because they just wanted to peek at the women who were going to undergo a physical checkup. When they climbed the tree, they realized that they were together and wanted to do the same thing. But they did not expect that Himegami was just right above them. Since she knew what they were doing, she punished the boys with her strong kick. The boys were so scared at her that they quickly returned to their room. Kagetsuchi got worried because he thought that Himegami would not be able to control her anger towards Takaru. So Himegami said that she could not feel the same hatred that she felt the other day towards Takaru. A few minutes later, the male students underwent the physical checkup. They were fascinated when they saw their beautiful school nurse, named Aki, who was going to do their physical checkup. When it was Takaru's turn to be checked by the Karanbo that was analyzing the Maken of the students, it could not find any Maken suitable for him. When Haruko found out about it, she immediately went to the principal's office. The inventor of Karanbo, named Shin, could not believe it because this was the first time it happened after 10 years. Apart from this, it was not only Takaru who could not be detected by the Kuranbo, because there were 3 other students like him. One of them was Inaho, but Minori understood her situation because she already had a Maken. While the other one was the first-year student, named Otohime. Takaru could not understand why the Maken was so important to them, so Minori explained it to him. She said that from that day on, their Maken would serve as their defense. This was because the others used their Maken not only in fights, but in other things as well. When Minori and Gen were the only ones left in the principal's office, they talked about Takaru because Gen also found out that he was their teacher's son, and he noticed the resemblance between the two of them. Then they also talked about Inaho because of the Maken that she was holding, called Komudo. One day, Takaru asked Haruko to tour him and Inaho around the school so that they could choose a club which they could join. When they did, he saw how the students used their Maken in their respective clubs. After they finished visiting the clubs, Takaru decided to join the gravure photography club, so Inaho decided that he would join it too. Haruko imagined what the two might do together in this club, so she did not agree to it. Instead, she asked Takaru to join the Kenkibu club. Since Takaru did not know what kind of club it was, Haruko said that it was like 10 Bice public order team. She informed them that she was the club president, and Himegami was also a member. Takaru was not able to make a decision right away, and he asked for some time to think about it. The next morning, there was a fight between Azuki and a first year, named Kai. Kai said that if he won in the fight, Azuki must agree to be his girlfriend. When the fight started, Azuki tried to hit Kai in the face, but she was unable to knock him down. Kai attacked repeatedly, and this caused Azuki to have a hard time defeating him. While Takaru could not bear to see a man hurting a woman, he was about to try to stop the fight, but he was quickly stopped by the girls. But since he was persistent, he suddenly strengthened himself and was able to escape to block Kai's attack just in time. Although he was able to stop it, he was still thrown away because Kai's attack was so strong. That was the moment when Azuki had the chance to target Kai's mouth. Since Kai did not harden it with his Maken, he immediately lost consciousness after receiving that attack. Azuki approached Takaru to thank him, but Haruko reprimanded his reckless action. Takaru told Haruko that although he admitted that the girls in their school were strong, he still wanted a fair fight. So Haruko told him that this was the job of the Kenkibu. After hearing this, Takaru decided to join the Kenkibu. A few hours later, Himegami once again remembered Takaru's defense against Kai's attack. She was surprised because she seemed to have felt the strength that Takaru had shown before. Other than Takaru and Inaho, Kengo decided to join Kenkibu as well. The club held a welcome party to the new members in the hot spring. Aside from the members of the Kenkibu, the members of the student council and Madu Shikubu, who were all women, came there too. All of them were part of what was called Madu Kenkekiku, or the Maken-Ki. As new Maken-Ki members, they also underwent various types of training. And for them to understand the Maken faster, they were taught by the student council president, named Takaki, and the treasurer, named Yuka. After that, they also undergo Himegami's training. That's why Takaru's body was so sore that night. Inaho offered to give him a massage, but Haruko was jealous of this, so she also helped in doing the massage. While Himegami was watching them, she wondered where Takaru got his strength when he blocked Kai's attack. She wanted to confirm this, so she approached Takaru and asked him out on a date. The next day, they met in a square and they had no idea that Haruko and Inaho were following them. When they went to the market, Himegami liked a lot of things from the stores and bought them. Because of this, she made Takaru the carrier of her purchases. While she was trying the clothes on, she asked herself why Takaru smelled like his older brother. After some time, they decided to eat first. It turned out that Azuki worked in the cafe, and she did not expect that Takaru was with Himegami. She felt embarrassed, so she warned Takaru in case he told others that she worked there. After they ate, they enjoyed the view by the river. It was here that Himegami realized that she was just having fun and forgot her true purpose on Takaru. For this reason, she took action and forced to check the mark on Takaru's chest. Suddenly, 3 men appeared who introduced themselves as members of the Himegami fan club. Just like Haruko and Inaho, they had been following them for a while. To Himegami's annoyance, she summoned her Shikigami to throw them into the river. But another man appeared and challenged Himegami to a fight. Using his Maken blade snake, he immediately attacked her, but she easily dodged it. Himegami thought that it was from the Kamigari, and this man said that he was not yet an official member, but if he could defeat her, then the Kamigari would surely accept him. When the man attacked again, Himegami just blocked it, but Takaru was affected because he was hit. Because of this, Himegami lost her focus, causing them to receive the enemy's next attack. When they fell into the river, their lips met and after a while, they were able to get out of the water. Haruko and the others immediately noticed that they were seeing a different Takaru. The enemy rushed again, but he was only hit by Takaru's kick. When he attacked, the mark appeared again on Takaru's chest. After witnessing this, Himegami realized that his older brother and Takaru had the same abilities. But after a while, Takaru wondered because he could not remember what he did. Himegami approached him and told him that he saved her. One day, the student council heard about the incidents of random attacks on some of the students. Takaru and Yuruchi were assigned to investigate who could be the culprit, because the victims could not remember what happened to them after they regained consciousness. After a few hours of gathering information, Takaru could not stop the noise of his stomach. Because of this, Yuruchi gave him something to eat while they were resting. When he finished his snack, he left Yuruchi for a while to drink water. Then he met a woman who approached and wanted to talk to him. It turned out that she knew that he was looking for the perpetrator of the attacks on the students. According to her, she knew who he was looking for. Takaru immediately believed her, but when he said his name to her, it was here that the woman used her Maken. After that, Takaru was shocked because he could not move. It turned out that he was already inside the spider web territory that she created. When the woman was about to attack him, Yuruchi suddenly came there. Using Yuruchi's Maken, she repeatedly attacked the woman. But when Takaru mentioned her name, she also fell into the trap and was unable to move. It was here that they found out that this woman was the perpetrator of the attacks on the students. The enemy attacked Yuruchi, so Takaru thought of asking for help. But Yuruchi immediately stopped him because she did not want them to disturb their other colleagues. Haruko was wondering because up to that moment they had not yet received a call from Takaru. So they thought that the two might be in trouble. Haruko immediately moved to find Yuruchi and Takaru. When the enemy attacked again, Yuruchi tried to block it, so Haruko immediately knew where they were. When Kimi came, she asked her help to bring her to the place where she saw the light. Because of this, she quickly reached Takaru's location. Since the enemy already knew Haruko's name, she also tried to capture her. Although her Maken had a very powerful force, it still did not work on Haruko. Haruko asked this woman her purpose on doing it, but the woman suddenly remembered several people that caused her headache. It turned out that she wanted to fight against the high officials of the Maken-Ki, so she made a way to fulfill her wish. Haruko did not like her answer, so she decided to use her Maken against the enemy. This was the Murakumo, which was one of the 8 Maken, and the most harmful of the 8. With this, Haruko disabled the opponent's Maken power. The enemy attacked again, but Haruko easily destroyed her Maken and then she retaliated. Meanwhile, the other members were worried about Takaru, but Himegami said that they had nothing to worry about because Haruko was already there. She added that no one in the entire school could be matched against Haruko. On the other hand, Otohime immediately found out what happened to the student that they were controlling. The next morning while they were in class, Inaho fell asleep and dreamed of an event 8 years ago. While she was in her training, Takaru approached him and that was when they first met. When she woke up, Takaru told her that their element self-practice class was about to start. She was the only girl left in their room, so she went out to get dressed. While they are in class, Inaho was amazed by Takaru because he was able to control the fog inside the glass ball. Yuruchi mentioned that it was just easy for Haruko to do it, so they also discussed what she did the other day. While they were talking, Kengo also learned that the girl that Haruko defeated had lost her memory after the fight. After a while, Minori called Kai to show them the use of what they were studying. She added that as long as they follow her instructions correctly, they could do this technique even if they do not have a Maken. When she did this technique, Kai was thrown away because of its extreme force. Luckily, Kai was able to activate his Maken, so he was able to protect his body. In the afternoon, when Takaru was about to go home, Haruko asked a favor from him to go for shopping because she still had some things to finish at the student council office. When Takaru saw Inaho, he asked her to accompany him. Inaho did not think twice in going with him because she also needed to buy her snacks. While they were walking home towards the dormitory, they decided to rest for a while in the square. Since the rain still did not stop, Inaho mentioned that it was also raining that day in her dream. Takaru wondered what Inaho meant because he still could not remember the first day they met. Inaho tried to give hints, but he still could not remember them. For this reason, Inaho did not bother again to remind Takaru about the past. After a while, Takaru decided for them to go home because the rain was getting stronger. But Inaho felt sad after their conversation, so she let Takaru go home first. A few minutes later, Kengo saw Inaho who was on her way to the Amanohara. After a while, Inaho saw a cat, so she took it. When Haruko arrived at the dormitory, she was worried when she found out that Takaru had left Inaho alone. Since Himegami could hear them, she went out the room to reprimand Takaru. Himegami said that although she did not know much about the past between Takaru and Inaho, she told him that he should appreciate Inaho's feelings for him. After what Himegami said, Takaru decided to go and find Inaho. When he came out of the dormitory, he met Kengo, so he found out where Inaho went. A few minutes later, and while Inaho was talking to the cat, he heard Takaru's voice calling her, but the cat got away from her. It ran away and was met by Takaru. Suddenly, a large stone fell towards the cat, and luckily, Takaru was able to use what he had learned earlier to save the cat. But it turned out that there were still other rocks that fell. When Inaho saw them, she acted quickly to save them. When Takaru stood up, Inaho suddenly collapsed and lost consciousness. Because of this, Takaru just carried her on his back as they were returning to the dormitory, and took the cat which they named Manji. One day, the Venus members went to Tenbai Academy from the Order of Kamigari. So when Jen was about to give Takaru's Maken, they heard the sound of the helicopter where the Venus members were riding. Since Jen already knew who was coming, he immediately left to go to Minori. Akaya was the leader of Venus, and he was with Demitra, Celia, Yenmin and the twins Araru and Real. When they faced Minori in the office, it was only then that Minori remembered that the Kamigari had informed her that Venus members were the exchange students. But Minori was surprised that Akaya was also there, so Akaya also said that the Kamigari believed that there was a student of Tenbai who wanted to return the Yamata no Orochi. He added that in the 2 years that had passed, they had seen a strong abnormality in Amanohara, and they were convinced that there was a god's beast in Tenbai Academy. A few moments later, Jen came together with Aki and Tamika. At the same time, Takaki's group also came, so they heard that they were the first generation of Maken-Ki. When Akaya saw Takaki, he left to her care the members of Venus. When they were all at the Kenkibu office, Yuka told everyone that the Venus was going to aid Maken-Ki's tasks until summer break. Then they introduced themselves one by one, and when it was Celia's turn to talk about herself, Kengo thought that he had seen this woman before. When it was Yenmin's turn to introduce herself, she said that there was no need to introduce herself to the weak. Azuki did not like what she had said, so she challenged Yenmin to a fight. But since Maken-Ki members were not allowed to fight, they challenged them in a game. They chose the volleyball game with 3 members on each team. Since each team was equally determined to win, they kept adding points to their scores. Until Yenmin decided to use Maken, causing Azuki to get angry, and she also retaliated. As a result, Demitra became serious in the game, so Haruko also brought out her Murakumo. When Demitra attacked, Haruko countered it, and due to the power of their Maken, they almost destroyed the entire gym. Takaru, on the other hand, seemed to cover Celia, causing her to think that he was protecting her. And since they did not know who was the winner, they agreed to just recognize each other's strength. The next day, the Venus members started to attend the class. Celia was included in Takaru's class, so he found out that she was a famous performer. Since she was impressed by what she thought as a heroic action, she started to admire him. The twins were in Himegami class, while Yenmin was in Azuki's class. And Demitra was assigned in Haruko's class. A few hours after the Venus members met each other, Celia said that she wanted to date Takaru. Her colleague supported her, so that night, they planned for the upcoming date. They knew that Takaru was currently with the 3 girls, and they would definitely interfere with Takaru and Celia's date. Celia planned to have their date the next day, so Demitra's mission was to keep the 3 girls away from Takaru. The next morning when Takaru went to their room, he was surprised to find a love letter under his desk. He immediately hid it, so that Kengo would not see it. When it was time for their lunch break, he went to the restroom to read the love letter. Little did he know that Kengo was in the other cubicle and had been listening to him. He immediately reported this to Haruko and Himegami. And since there was no name written on the love letter, Haruko wondered who wrote it. It was not long when Takaki came to inform them that there were a pile of tables behind the clock tower. She wanted Haruko and Himegami to find out who did it. In the afternoon after their class, Inaho was about to invite Takaru to go home together, but Takaru was no longer there. Kengo had a suspicion that he had gone to the place indicated in the letter, and he was right about it. Inaho looked for Takaru until she found paper bags full of snacks. In the distance, she saw the stuffed toy that looked like Takaru. She was thinking that this was Takaru, and she also thought that he was the one who brought the snacks. She had no idea that the twins did this, so that she would not be a hindrance between Takaru and Celia. While Takaru was waiting, he was wondering why the person who wrote to him had not yet arrived. For this reason, he thought that Kengo might be making this up to annoy him. But after a while, Celia came and it was the moment that he found out that she was the one who wrote the love letter. Then they decided to go on a date, and while they were having a snack, other people were looking at them because of Celia's beauty. A few minutes later, Celia took Takaru to a big house. While Haruko and Himegami were in front of the piled-up tables, Himegami felt that someone was watching them. It turned out that Yenmin was the culprit why the tables were there. Himegami also found out right away that this was Yenmin's way to get them there. A few moments later, Inaho came there while carrying the stuffed toy, and was wondering because Takaru behind her had not been talking for a while. But Haruko clarified to her that she was only carrying a stuffed toy, and that was the moment when she noticed it. Himegami found out what Yenmin's group was planning because of the paper that her Shikigami got for her. They learned Takaru and Celia's final destination on their date, so Haruko and Inaho quickly went there while Himegami was left to face Yenmin. When they met Demitra, she tried to stop them, but they managed to get past her. When they got to the house where Takaru was taken, Inaho used her Maken to break down the door. They saw that Takaru was just watching Celia while she was singing and dancing. One day while Takaru and Kengo were relaxing under a tree, Takaru noticed a woman by the window. When Kengo saw her, he tried to check his list but she was not included there. Takaki spoke to Haruko to inform her that another member of Venus had arrived. She wanted her to find this person, but they were surprised when they heard a voice. Takaru and Kengo tried to find the girl they saw earlier, but they could not find her. It turned out that this girl was already with Haruko on the rooftop, and she was the girl that Takaki was referring to as the new member of Venus, named Minerva. Meanwhile, Takaru passed by two students who were teasing each other, and one of them was Otohime. The two students decided to fight, and they made Takaru their witness. Since Takaru could not refuse it, he just told Kengo to inform the Kenkibu. When the fight started, the man attacked first and managed to catch Otohime. But Otohime just pissed him off that her opponent got annoyed, and when he attacked again, it was the moment that he fell into Otohime's Maken. Because of this, he could no longer move, and according to Otohime's twin, named Guken, Otohime had already won the fight. As Otohime started to break her opponent's arm, it was here that Takaru acted to try to stop it. But Otohime also placed him in her dollhouse. To her surprise, Takaru was still able to move even though he was inside her Maken. He was about to get close to her when Otohime squeezed the doll that represented him. Minerva suddenly came, and it was here that Otohime's Maken stopped. Akaya also arrived, and it turned out that they know each other because Otohime was the granddaughter of the Kamigari chief. Otohime decided to leave, so she and Guken left the area. After Minerva applied the first aid to the man who fought against Otohime, she also introduced herself to Takaru. The next day, Takaru was summoned by Takaki to discuss his role in the previous fight. Since they also knew that he had not yet passed the element exam, Takaki instructed him to pass it, otherwise, he would be removed from the Kenkibu. So in the afternoon, Kengo accompanied him to practice in controlling his element. He did it repeatedly until it got dark. When he got the right formula, he was able to do it successfully. Kengo asked him if he also made the mark carved on the tree, but Takaru did not know that he did it. Himegami was not far from them, but she felt that there were other people there besides Takaru and Kengo. It turned out to be Minerva who had been watching her for a while. Himegami was surprised that she could see the Shikigami and even the thing that Himegami was hiding. That was the moment when Minerva said that it was their mission to bring her to the Kamigari before she broke the seal of the Amanohara. Kagetsuchi tried to attack, but Minerva easily dodged him. So Ikazuchi also attacked her, but it did not work either. As Himegami prepared to fight, Minerva said that she had no plans to fight her because they were also assigned to observe the Tenbai students. And one of those that she noticed was Takaru, who had the same spiritual waves as Himegami. She added that there was a possibility that they would bring Takaru as well, but it was not going to happen yet. The next day, Takaru passed his element exam, and they no longer need to remove him from the Kenkibu. And just a few days later, he was summoned to the principal's office for his Maken. Minori explained to him that his Maken could not be activated until his opponent's Maken was activated. Apart from this, he also found out the ability of his Maken, and it was to destroy the opponent's Maken. One day, the Maken-Ki members met for the upcoming summer training camp. Takaki informed them that due to the lack of funds, they would have to pay for themselves. Because of this, other members had problems, especially those who did not have remaining allowance. When they got out of the office, they saw Minori posting something to the bulletin board. It was the Maid Cafe poster where Azuki worked, and they saw that the cafe was looking for helpers for the limited special offer day. Since they needed money, they all decided to apply. As Azuki was about to go to work, she was surprised to see customers lining up at their cafe. It was here that she found out that other members of the Maken-Ki were already working there. Little did they know that Otohime had been observing them, and she wanted to conduct a drug trial. Other than this, she also wanted to see Takaru's true strength. A few hours later, Cha-Cha did something silly to Haruko, which Haruko did not like, so she ran out of the cafe. At first, they thought that Haruko was just fine, until they noticed that a few minutes had passed, and she still had not returned yet. Because of this, Takaru decided to go out to look for her. When Otohime saw Haruko, this was the moment when she targeted her. It was not long when someone attacked Haruko. Haruko released her Heaven's Gate, but the enemy was able to destroy it. The enemy attacked again, so Haruko used her Murakumo. Takaru suddenly came there, and he was able to stop the enemy. But due to the strength of the enemy, he was easily got away from Takaru. As the enemy was approaching them, Azuki suddenly came there and attacked the enemy. With the strength of Azuki's attack, the enemy immediately lost consciousness. Minori arrived too, and when they removed the enemy's ice shield, they were surprised to find out that it was the owner of the cafe where they worked, named Goro. They also found out that the Kamigari controlled him. Jen said that a few years ago, the Kamigari tried to lead the Tenbai Academy. Although they were able to protect themselves with their Maken, many students had been controlled by the Kamigari, including Goro. After hearing this, Takaru remembered the other students whom they fought before. Although Otohime failed in what she was planning, she still had no intention of giving up. One of their siblings, named Kikyu, came because their grandfather called her. And she also intended to support them in what they were doing. The next day, as Haruko was about to enter school, someone suddenly abducted her. So when Takaru and Himegami arrived at the Kenkibu office, they were surprised that Haruko was not there even though she left before they did, saying that she was going to do something at the student council office. Because of this, the two of them decided to look for Haruko, but Himegami told Takaru not to inform the other members so they would not worry. When Haruko woke up, she saw Otohime who was being controlled by its own Maken. While Takaru was searching, he met Inaho and she gave him a protective charm. Inaho thought of giving it to him after she found out what happened to him the other day. She added that although her mission was to protect him, there were still times when they were not together. Jen once again remembered the day when they were members of Maken-Ki and Takaru's father always helped them. They were worried that up to that moment, the Maken-Ki was still fighting the Kamigari, so Minori also thought that their teacher was expecting this too, and this was the reason why he sent Takaru to Tenbai. Takaru was told by a woman that if he wanted to save Haruko, he had to go to Amanohara. Kikyu introduced herself that she was from the Kamigari, and then the woman lost consciousness. Takaru immediately went to the Amanohara, and when he arrived there, he saw Kikyu. She suddenly attacked him, and Takaru failed to avoid it because of her speed. Kikyu just continued to attack him, and this was when Haruko remembered the day when Takaru's mother died. When Takaru was thrown on the big stone with a carved mark that was similar to the one on his chest, he remembered what his mother taught him, who said that having true strength was to protect others. Since he desired to follow this, the Amanohara suddenly lit up. When Himegami saw this, she instructed Nadzuchi to go to Amanohara to see what was happening there. Takaru gradually absorbed the elements coming from the Amanohara. Kikyu immediately thought that this might be the said evil energy of the sacred beast, called Yamada no Orochi. When Takaru left the big rock, he headed towards Tenbai Academy because he was no longer in his senses. As Nadzuchi approached the Amanohara, she met Takaru. After a while, Cha-Cha and her friend noticed that as if someone was approaching them. When it got close to them, they were surprised that it was Takaru. Takaru attacked them, but Himegami and Izuki came there to help the girls. And when Takaru saw them, he immediately attacked them too. On the other hand, Otohime was amazed while observing what Takaru was doing. A moment later, members of Venus suddenly came to Haruko in order to save her. They created a dimensional space so that Haruko could get out of it and to save Takaru. When Otohime was about to try to fight the Venus members, Akaya appeared to remind her of the original order from the higher officials. For this reason, the twin could do nothing but retreat. Meanwhile, Takaru was currently absorbing the elements around him. The others were worried about him because it was possible that Takaru's body could no longer handle the amount of the elements soon. It was only a few moments when they saw a portal opening above them, and someone suddenly fell from it. It turned out to be Haruko, who was also holding the Murakumo, and the others were relieved to see her. Takaru attacked her, so Haruko countered it, but Takaru just absorbed the Murakumo element. Yet he did not expect that Haruko was already in front of him, and he could not avoid her next attack. Because of this, Haruko was able to successfully save Takaru. Haruko could not stop crying after seeing that Takaru had returned to his senses. But a few minutes later, Kikyu came with her disciples. She wanted to recruit Takaru to join the Kamigari because of his demonstrated power. She added that one day, the Kamigari would also get hold of the Tenbai Academy. But Takaru immediately rejected the offer, and Takaki also came to inform Kikyu that they would not give up the Tenbai. Kikyu knew that her group did not have enough strength to face the Maken-Ki at the moment, so she decided to retreat first. Before they left, she told Takaru that she would never forget his name. This is the end of the last episode of Maken-Ki Season 1. I hope you like it and give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss new uploaded videos. Thank you for watching.